I find myself in a dimly lit room, yet light shining from the outside coming in through the windows give enough ambient light to see the details. There's an alien family speaking to me, a father, a mother, and their son. The young son is familiar to me, like I know him somehow, although we've never met while he was in that non-human body. He's showing me a toy that looks like a light energy version of Legos as I'm sitting on the edge of his bed. I was invited by this boy to visit him there at his family home. The father says, "Why don't you bring her to see Source?" As nonchalantly as, "Why don't you take her to the park around the corner?" The son agrees and cheerfully states, "Come with me." I somehow know to implicitly trust him. We both jump out of a window from his high-rise style dwelling and fly amongst this glorious city with ease, gliding around these tall buildings that are made of clear crystals with the whitest, brightest, purest light shining from within. The atmosphere there feels so free, like I could do anything. The boy points to the largest and brightest structure in the area and exclaims, "See, this is where the souls are born." Welcome to planet Ankaan, the physical location of God in our universe. Greetings, my name is Erin, and I have a good one for you today. These alien beings were the second group to reach out to me, as they are associated with the Alderamins, a group who I've previously covered. Ankaan and Alderamin are connected, almost like sister planets. When I spoke about the Alderamin name in Arabic being right arm of the king, Ankaan is the king referred to there. I've since read for several Ankaan starseed clients in my Akashic record readings. Not only have I astral traveled to this location many times over the years, but I have been physically taken there twice, to my knowledge at least, for extended energy attunements. This planet has the Bayer designation of Alpha Phoenix and is the brightest star in the Phoenix Constellation, located intentionally at the crown of the Phoenix bird's head. The beings there prefer to be called by the Arabic name for their planet, which is Ankaan. The Ankaan realm is probably the most notable because it is a location of source energy for this universe. It holds the God energy that comprises our souls and oversees all creation. The ancient Egyptians often used the phoenix bird to symbolize immortality. Perhaps the Egyptians knew something we didn't, until recently, that is. The Ankaans are a non-humanoid race that most closely resemble what we would call frogs. However, the Ankaans tell me they don't like being called frogs or toads or amphibians. They only want to be referred by their proper name, which is Ankaans. So I use the term frog when physically describing them, and that's how I can best explain their appearance. However, I want to remain respectful and abide by their wishes. Ankaan beings walk upright on two legs. I never see them hop around like a literal frog would. All Ankaans are green in color with little variation in their appearances from being to being. They wear black long sleeve jumpsuits, no shoes. They have webs in between their fingers and toes. They can walk and stand easily, but they also fly using their own will. They do not have wings, nor do they have tails. Ankaans can fly to great heights. Occasionally, I've seen Ankaans operating a small, single passenger flying vehicles in urban areas. It kind of loosely reminds me of a flying smart car. I don't know if you guys remember those, but I call it a flying car as it tends to follow their roadways and doesn't fly particularly high. When I ask the young Ankaan, who is my guide there, about it, he kind of rolls his eyes and says, "No, lazy people use them." Adult Ankaans are about 4 feet or 122 centimeters tall. They are kind, welcoming, helpful, but serious in their natures. There's an aspect of aloofness with them. And it's not really like they are indifferent or don't care. It's just been challenging for me to find the proper words to describe them. By now, I'm pretty good at figuring out and explaining energies, but the Ankaans have me at a loss for words and how best to describe their energies. Perhaps the most fitting descriptive word doesn't even exist in our language. Ankaan is currently and always been in the 15th dimension. Two of the most striking things about this realm is that it's always nighttime whenever I visit there. And most things seem to be made of different types of crystals. The sky on Anka is always dark and sprinkled with stars like our night sky. Anka does not have a sun, as it is not needed. Source provides all the light they need and is the center of consciousness and information for the entire universe. A sun traditionally provides a planet with warmth, light, spiritual understanding, and allows for evolution of consciousness. Any sun or suns on any other planet is almost like a representation of Source itself for that realm. Since the original is already there and is so bright, a sun is not necessary on Anka. Nonetheless, these beings have no problems with bright lights, even though they live in a darker environment, as they frequently interact with and gaze into the brightest light of all, which is God itself. Half of the planet consists of the Crystal City. It's a massive, stunningly beautiful place. The Crystal City is considered a major universal hub of activity. Think like Manhattan, London, Dubai, and Shanghai all rolled into one that impacts the economic and cultural movements throughout Earth. This city has an even larger reach as it affects the entire universe. Other planets have cities that are made of crystalline buildings or structures, but they are not considered the Crystal City. The other half of the planet are more rural areas. There are no other cities located on Anka, but there are nature parks and lakes within the Crystal City limits, so it's not all urban sprawl. It reminds me kind of New York City, where they have designed parks and natural areas throughout the city itself where wildlife can go and people can get away from all the concrete. The buildings on Anka are literally made of clear white crystal with symbols carved into the walls. Everything seems grand and important. And I suppose that's what happens in God's city. But there are roadways that I have walked along through the city. They're also made of a dark crystal material. Although I'm the only one walking, everyone else is either flying or driving their small, high-tech smart cars. And despite its importance and expansiveness, the city doesn't feel crowded to me. I do see other Ankans around, but it's not just jam-packed with people like other cities found on Earth. The leaves on the trees and other natural elements also are crystalline, but in different colors. The Ankan beings themselves are not made of crystal. They are flesh and blood like we are. There are ponds and lakes within the Crystal City. There's a prominent lake that you can sit by, and it looks like an infinity pool going off the edge of the planet. The water is exceptionally calm and clear and mirrors the sky above. There are neon purple lights in the water, which are crystals that naturally grow there and are bioluminescent. It's a gorgeous sight to behold, and I can understand why the Ankans like it there so much. The Ankans are always taking me to their parks. There is animal life on the planet. The Ankan beings, although they look like an animal to us, they are the humans of their world. I have read for horse and cat Akashic records where their souls have originated from there. There are birds that fly around as well. I'm told that they really don't keep pets in their homes, and the animals do live outside in the more rural areas and in the parks in the Crystal City. Some Ankans do ride horses and keep them out in the more rural areas. So what does source energy look like? To be honest, I was surprised that God, the creator, source, whatever your preferred name for it, was even on a physical planet. I just assumed God was on spirit side or in heaven, if there was any one place. Therefore, this discovery was shocking to me. This is not to say that God can only be tapped into or experienced while on Anka. God's love and energy is ubiquitous, and all our souls are created from source. God energy looks like a massive expanse of blinding white light. It's so big that I can't discern its exact shape or where it ends or where it begins. This light has a consciousness and can easily communicate with me or anyone else telepathically. There is an immense wisdom in this consciousness, like it contains all the collective experiences of every being that has come before. The light is housed in a large crystal complex, and its power generates the light throughout the entire city and by extension, the entire planet. This is why there is no sun needed there. I have had firsthand experiences on Anka being enveloped by this blinding white light that feels like pure love. My body had been brought to the main area by a group of Ankan beings to where Source resides. I have memories of being placed laying down, face up on a clear crystal bed and having this white light permeate my body. My body is kept there for some time to allow these energies they are placing into my body to mature before I am brought back to Earth. The first time this happened, I was about 5 or 6 years old, and the second time was in early 2024. In between these two physical experiences, I have also visited via biolocation or astral travel. Ankaan is the other planet besides Earth that I've been to the most. Okay, so the Ankaan share a planet with God itself. What is their role in the universe? Well, many Ankaan souls, along with the Aldermans and other planetary beings, work to create new worlds. Realm creation is an ongoing process. Worlds have been created before Earth and after Earth, and this is a process that will likely never stop. The majority of the Ankaan starseeds currently on Earth are here because they were responsible for helping to set up Earth in some way. This is a huge rabbit hole and one that I'll make a series of videos on later to clarify. Some Ankaans are chosen to train to become guardians of Source and the planet. These beings can shoot white bolts of energy that looks like lightning from the palms of their hands. You do not want to be on the receiving end of that offense. I have witnessed how powerful it is. While the Ankaans are a very high-dimensional and powerful alien race, they are frequently under attack by negative forces. This desire to protect others from evil, from expanding and spread God's love, make them very involved in galactic politics. The Ankaans are very active in the military arm that combats evil entities all around the universe. In general, it seems as if they have a strong voice in the goings-ons universally. This group is feared by those ruled by the dark forces and deeply respected by the benevolent races. Further, many Ankaans are responsible for the organization of both the creation of new souls to begin their journeys and where those souls go. There seems to be a lot involved in this, as there are many souls to organize, and it's a complex process that I do not yet know all the details. But the Ankaans will facilitate the new souls to receive specific trainings that will be used to begin their own trajectories. I've seen souls being lined up in multiple different lines to be transported to specific locations. Ankaan does have leadership on their planet as well as leadership in their off-world missions. While not oppressive in nature, there is a societal structure in place that is closely followed. Those who are chosen to lead are very respected and listened to. An Ankaan being doesn't get the privilege to lead until they've proven good ethics while moving up the chain of command and attained high levels of wisdom. Therefore, any leader in power is an elder, and the leaders are most often male Ankaans. Let's talk about the Ankaan spaceships. Since this group is involved in interplanetary issues, it comes as no surprise that they use spaceships frequently. Ankaan UFOs rarely come into Earth's airspace, only if it's deemed absolutely necessary. They're also very stealthy when they do come here, so it's unlikely they would ever be seen. There are several different types of crafts they use for off-world travel. Ankaans have massive motherships that are permanently placed in strategic locations around the universe. These ships are so big that many Ankaans and even other races that are working with them can live inside them long term. These motherships look somewhat round, but have kind of a rough and uneven blackish dark gray exterior, almost as if it's camouflaged not as a craft, but as a meteor or a giant space rock of some sort. I'm shown a control booth that seems small for the size of this UFO with a small window. Most of the ship does not have windows to the outside. I'm also shown this thin, smooth, elongated flying saucer-shaped crafts in the same color as the motherships, but they're flying past me so quickly I can't get a good look at them. There are no external lights, and these ships will hold 2 to 4 Ankaan passengers. These are the UFOs that get close to Earth or other realms. Their speed and silence combined with this low profile make them impossible to see by design. Ankaans have been telling us of their existence since the beginning through references in culture. I am not someone who aligns themselves with movements or participates in popular or political cultures. I'm staunchly non-political or apolitical, and I'm not a joiner of anything. However, I'd seen the Pepe the Frog cartoon meme in passing, but I paid no attention to it. until I met the Ankans, and certain imagery found in the world, especially post-2020, started to make more sense. It's no surprise that those who want to show that God wins or good will ultimately overcome the evil of this world have adopted the frog image as its figurehead. The originator of the Pepe the Frog cartoon, Matt Fury, is not particularly happy with his creation being used in this alt-right movement. However, there is a quote from a May 6, 2017 podcast interview he did where he likens Pepe to, quote unquote, rising from the ashes like a phoenix, which made me chuckle when I read that. I'm not sure that Matt is in conscious communication with the Ankans, but they had that come out as a clue to their origins. There's even a frog god card one can play in the legendary and prophetic Illuminati board game that was first developed in 1982. Christians will frequently use the acronym FROG, F-R-O-G, which stands for Fully Rely on God. There are also a few mentions of frogs in the Bible, specifically in Exodus, Psalms, and Revelations. In the Old Testament, Exodus chapter 8, verse 2 through verse 13, where God tells the Egyptian king to let his people go, or else he will plague their land with frogs. Making good on the threat, massive numbers of frogs came out of the Nile River and infested the land and all the homes in Egypt. The deployment of frogs on God's command is a show of power and a wake-up call to listen to him. It's a nod to the legions of Ankaan beings that do God's work. The image of raining frogs as a sign of God's wrath has been depicted in a memorable scene in the 1999 film Magnolia. For those who have not seen the film, it's an intense scene, and I'll link the YouTube video of that scene in the show notes below. There have been frog raining incidents said to have occurred in Kansas City in 1873, in Dubuque, Iowa in 1882, in DeQueen, Arkansas in 1992, and most recently in Ozeke, I hope I'm saying that right, Serbia in 2005. I wonder what was going on there. The internet has a wide reach, so if anyone watching this was in DeQueen, Arkansas in 1992 or Ozeke, Serbia in 2005 and may have witnessed this or know someone who had, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. In the New Testament of the Bible, in Revelation chapter 16, verse 13, John has a vision of a dragon who is the Antichrist, who spews out unclean spirits in the form of frogs out of its mouth, the mouth of the beast and out of the mouth of the false prophet. This could initially be interpreted as the frogs being unclean creatures, and that is why they are coming out of the mouth of evil. However, considering our new understanding of the Ankans and what the frog really represents, it could be translated as implying that the Antichrist will speak of God and how they follow God's will, but what they are saying is a falsehood or intentionally deceiving the masses. The ancient Egyptians believed frogs had divine power. The image you are seeing was sent to me by someone who visited the Dendra temple in Egypt. The frog goddess Heket, H-E-Q-E-T, sometimes spelled Heket, H-E-K-E-T, was the goddess of regeneration, rebirth / reincarnation, and fertility. Heket had the head of a frog and the body of a woman. I'm not so sure this is Heket or not in this picture, as the body looks to be male, but the earliest Egyptian cults worshipped frog gods and goddesses as they believed they were responsible for the creation of the world. This is just scratching the surface about these amazing and high-dimensional beings that inhabit Ankaan. I hope you enjoyed learning about them. Any alien groups mentioned in this video that I have made videos about previously will be linked below in the show notes. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Can you come up with any other cultural frog references that may tie back to the Ankans? If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, kindly subscribe to the channel and check out my other videos highlighting other previously unknown alien races in our universe. Should you want to have your Akashic record read by me, the link to the website is below. In the meantime, I love you all and welcome to a higher dimension.